Hello, it's Thursday night. Welcome to Call the Wild Outdoors Live. Tonight we've got a full fishing report for you. We're going to start down in the Monroe area, Detroit, or south of Detroit. Lake Erie, they're getting walleye, perch, and bass. Best bets out of the Raisin River. Down by Grosse Point, or Grosse Seal, excuse me. Grosse Point. Perch and walleye. All the length of the Detroit River to getting walleye with an occasional perch. Lake St. Clair getting perch, panfish, walleye, and a few muskie, and up by Anchor Bay some smallmouth bass. Hi Bill, how you doing? Continuing on up from the St. Clair River from Algonac to Port Huron, they're getting good catches of walleye. Lexington, Port Sanilac, all the way to Port Hope, lake trout, and assorted salmon. There'll be kings, cohos, a few Atlantics, and an occasional pink. Lexington, they're getting a few walleye to the south of the boat harbor. Okay, around the thumb, Port Austin, still getting some salmon and steelhead out of there, and a few lake trout. And then Saginaw Bay is producing walleye with varied results depending on the port you go out of, but everybody's pretty much catching walleye all the way to Tawas City. Tawas City, they're getting some perch, a few walleye, and the guys venturing way out are getting some lake trout and some salmon. Oscoda north to Sheboygan, same thing. All the ports are producing some salmon. It's a very mixed bag. You're getting kings, coho, Atlantic, and an occasional pink. And they are picking up some lake trout too. Okay, keep going around the bend, down toward from Mackinac City all the way down past Petoskey. It's pretty much the same story. Getting a few kings, a few cohos, and some lake trout. Charlevoix, same thing. Traverse Bay, they're getting some big perch. Again, they're spotty. You gotta search for them, and some nice lake trout. Haven't heard of any salmon showing up yet, but I'm sure they're probably getting a few. And from Northport south, we're going to go Northport all the way down to Manistee. Mixed bag. Lots of kings, a few coho, lake trout. There's a few whitefish being caught out there. And in Frankfort, north to, I'm going to say, just a little north of South Manitou Island. They're getting some steelhead in with their thing, and they're not out very far. We're talking 120 feet of water and fishing 6-color lead core or less. They're right up in that top echelon of water. Now, don't expect to go out and just smash them. It's day by day. You're going to get fish. One day you may get 10 on in 2.5 to 3 hours. The next day you may get 2 or 3. Now, I went out last night. We had a pretty nasty north wind, and it gradually switched over to northeast, coming out of the northeast, and it made fishing a little bit rough. I didn't do too bad. I got 1 lake trout. I brought 2 more salmon up near the side of the boat. Never got a chance to even try to net them. And then had 4 more on that peeled some drag, shook their heads. Before I could even get to the rod, they were gone. I have a sneaking suspicion a couple of them were coho because they were just doing that coho thing. So I'm going to get my stinger hooks and put those on. Manistee, they're getting a few coho that are showing up. Ludington, there's a big tournament this weekend in Ludington. If you can fish elsewhere, I would highly recommend that. That place is going to be a zoo. Nice mixed bag there as well. Less lake trout, Some nice kings, a few coho. Haven't heard nothing about steelhead, but I'm sure they're getting a few of them down there too. They seem to be just all along the lake shore. Okay, south all the way to the state line. Mixed bag, kings, cohos. Um, Down towards St. Joseph, I got a report that somebody picked up two Atlantics and a pink. So I know every year around Frankfort, somebody picks up a couple of pink salmon, but I've yet to see one. I have caught an Atlantic out there, but they're not predominant. They're kind of a rare thing. So okay, that covers the Great Lakes in the Lower Peninsula. Lake Superior, the fishing is on fire. The guys that are getting out limit catches in just a few hours, and it pretty much seems to be every port. The salmon are very widespread, and they're getting some really big, really nice fish up that way. The only area I didn't get a report on would be Whitefish Bay, Whitefish Point area, but out toward Grand Marais, Munising, Marquette, lots of nice lake trout, and they're getting both varieties. If you live up there, they call them the fats and the skinnies, but the skinnies are the Mackinac strain of lake trout, and never cook them up together. Although I've never tried out Lake Superior, I'm sure it's a whole different game up there, but um, they do have a distinctly different taste when you cook them up together. You will definitely tell the difference. And then on over to the Wisconsin state line, it's mixed bag. Still getting a lot of lake trout. Salmon are more mixed. It's a lot of kings. Um, Getting some browns mixed in with that. A few splake out of Grand Marais. Now, inland lake fishing, I don't have a lot of reports. I've got none for the UP. Burt Lake, they're getting some walleye. Malt Lake, some walleye. Black Lake, no good report from there. That don't mean they're not catching fish. I just didn't get a report from there. Um, let's see, Houghton Lake, few walleye, pike, bass, panfish, the usual over there. Lake St. Helen, lots of pike, lots of bluegills. Um, let's see, what was the other one that they reported on? It's down south someplace. It'll come to me, but go ahead and give it a try. It never hurts to give it a try. The fish seem to be pretty much done spawning, and now they're just hungry. So um, we had a nice hatch of flies last night. They're a real big one. I'm not familiar with the types of flies that they are, but these critters were big, and so that's going to put a slowdown on the trout fishing unless you're fly fishing. And I know they are getting a few trout down below Hodenpile Dam on the Manistee River, as well as a few below Tippy Dam, but they're fly fishing. If you gotta try and drown some worms, you'll probably be out there a while, but it'll still be fun. Now, not this weekend, but next weekend, the little town of Baldwin in Lake County. Hi, Pat. They have their Troutorama Festival going on. That's usually a pretty good time. Lots of things for the kids to do. So if you're looking for something to do, small town festival, you'll probably have a good time. Take your fishing gear with you. And like I said, try to avoid Ludington this weekend. It's just going to be a zoo. And my experience when this tournament's going on in Ludington, the guys participating in it are really rude. Rude and obnoxious is the best way to put it. If you're out there fishing, you ain't got the flag on your boat. They assume you don't belong there. You're just taking their fish, and they're going to try and cut you off. They're going to try and cut your lines. And it's not just one. There's a whole bunch of them out there doing it. It's really ridiculous. So uh, try to avoid getting mad or anything. Just stay away from it. Go up to Manistee or south. Maybe down by Whitehall or something. Yeah, that's very true, Bill. There's always some, and I'll tell you what, we've had a real big share of them this year in Frankfurt. Guys, they could see 200 boats trolling basically a northern and southern line, and these guys got to go east and west and every direction under the sun just to try and cut you off. And the sad part is one of the worst guys out there, and I finally told him, I says, "Listen, I'm just going to cut your lines next time." I had to take a sharp turn. I didn't have nothing out except my 3 downriggers, so I could take that sharp turn without tangling up anything. But he actually picked up speed to cut across in front of me, and I would have run over his lines. And I told him, next time I'm just going to run them over. I'll take them all. And he's got an aluminum boat and trolls out there with a electric trolling motor, and there's usually 3 people in the boat, and he's just real. I mean, he has everybody out there just screaming and hollering at him, and he's like, "Well, it's free lake. It is, but have some courtesy. Don't be a douchebag. Excuse my language, but." And there's just been too much of that this year, guys going in all different directions. I swear I'm going to pick up that ATV winch and put a 40 pound. Yeah, he thinks it's his water. I'm going to put a 40 pound weight on the bottom of a 1/4 inch cable or 1/8 inch cable, whatever they come with, and a nice grappling hook, and just drop it off the back of my boat straight down. Anything I snag is mine. I'm all for it. If you give a little bit, I'm going to give probably even more. But if you're not going to give, my boat's old enough and I got strong enough gear on there. I'm just going to start taking it. Normally, I give way too much out there, and I'm just over it. No, I won't keep the tackle because in my mind that would be stealing. But I'll just cut it off and just let it sink to the bottom. I won't return it to them either. And if it's a planer board that I snag, I know them are pretty expensive. I'll make sure it's hooked to the line good before I sink it. If I have to add 2 pound weights to it, I'll do it. These guys got to learn somehow that you just don't do this stuff. Like I said, when you got 200 boats all going in the same directions, and then you got one guy cutting in between them all, it's just nuts. There's areas where if you want to run east and west, you'll still be in the herd of boats, but you're on the outskirts of it. You're still going to catch fish. Hey, if somebody wants to troll out that way, that's their problem. The guys trolling east and west, let them. But when they're right in the middle of the pack, that's just ridiculous. And like I said, they will physically speed up to get in front of you. They're afraid that you're going to get to the fish before them or something. Now, last night where I was fishing, I always stay way away from the herd lately, but I was the only boat that I could physically see. It was a little hazy, so I could only see about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, but there was no other boat. Some guy come out of Frankfurt Harbor, shut down right in front of my boat, probably 50 yards away, trolled up or trolled to the west about maybe 100 yards, started setting his lines running at an angle. I just yelled to him, I ain't cutting. I was out here for the last hour and a half. You came over by me. There's no reason for that. I'll take everything you got. And he said something about me being a rude fisherman, and then he cut and went a different way. But I'm the rude guy. I was out there for an hour and a half to 2 hours all by myself. He's going to come and shut down right by me. Just boggles my mind sometimes how people think. I did get one lake trout last night. I lost two salmon just out of net range at the side of the boat and had a bunch of other ones on where they pumped the rod a few times, peel some drag. Um, and before I could get to the rod, they were gone. A couple of them I know were coho. Just they did the coho thing. Just went nuts. So all in all, I had a pretty good night. I got out there. It was 6:30ish, and I was off the water by 10:30. I pulled my little trick again. The only thing is, I started a little bit earlier this time. I started right at sundown, which was 9:30 yesterday, and that's possible, Bill. I'd had a few hits at that point. I didn't think of that, but I started in toward that shallow water. Normally, as soon as I cross out of 60 into like 59 feet, my screen's been lighting up. Didn't go that way last night. Waited till I got to 47 feet of water. Then I started graphing fish, and I had gone through early enough, and I'd picked up one on. I lost it, but I did a circle and come back, lost two. Did another circle. Now it was a little bit later, and I fighting the one fish. I'd gotten out into 74 feet of water by the time I got done fighting it and then resetting the line. So I turned around and started coming back in. As soon as I hit 59 feet, boom, they were there. Just bunches of them. And the rods just kept getting released from there. Like I said, I call it five, at least five on, but at one point I had three rods go off. Two of them pumped and peeled drag. The other one just kind of pumped and then let up. So I'm thinking that I had a school of coho in there that I was messing with. The one spoon was a brand new spoon and it came in with teeth marks right up at the front. So that's, yeah, it was good action. Um, I can't say that me having anybody else on the boat would have changed anything either. So it was just one of those nights. Now the stinger hooks, being as they're biting at the front of the lures, that's going to change some stuff. I didn't bother putting them on last night because I was getting ready to head in, but once I realized they were biting at the front. And I did graph what I'm pretty sure was a few steelhead in there. I'd be out in 120 feet of water. It was earlier in the day, and there'd be a fish at 15 feet, all by himself. I'm sorry to hear that, Pat. I can understand now you're not thinking about fishing. I'm going over to Wisconsin this weekend to see my son. I'm leaving early from work tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And I'm not taking the boat over. That was the plans originally, was to take the boat over, but it's broke down on me a couple times this year. I wanna run it a few more times and make sure all the bugs are out of it. I mean, it's all been stupid stuff that is easily handled, but it's still a long drive going across. Because basically, I got a dock in just north of Manitowoc, even though he's in Appleton. So from Frankfurt, I believe I chartered it the one time. It was right around 68, 69 miles by water. I just want a couple more weeks with that boat running fine, and then I'll take her across. But we're hoping to get a little fishing in on some of the little lakes there. I mean, he lives a block away from Lake Winnebago. 3 whole days, huh? That sucks. What kind of truck is it, Bill? I know my truck needs all new brake lines. I've got the brake lines sitting on there. I just haven't had the time to get them put on yet. Bought me a pop-up camper last weekend. Well, I guess it'd be 2 weekends ago. Come across on a little deal online on Facebook, and I couldn't pass the Dodge 2500, huh? Yeah, it's understandable, Pat. We still got a lot of time yet. The fishing isn't great yet. I figure another week or two, and it's going to pick up. The one thing I will say is we've had a lot of calm days this year that I've been real happy with. It's like it was 2 summers ago, and if the fishing is half as good as it was 2 summers ago, it's going to be awesome. I've been averaging at least one fish a trip though the last few times out, so bring it home. I haven't been skunked in a while, so that's a good thing. Anyways, we're gonna try and do a little inland fishing, and I want to check out the marina, maybe get their coordinates and stuff like that. Yeah, SS. It wasn't so calm when I went out yesterday. Might have been calmed down by Manistee, but up by Frankfort, she was rocking and rolling. Bill, we've had days where it's been flat as a pancake all day, literally. The little lake, they call it Betsy Lake. It's a drowned river mouth, is what it is, and it's where I keep my boat docked. There's been twice I've gone out fishing that little lake has been rougher than Lake Michigan. Yeah, I won't do that again, Pat. That was just miserable for everybody. I mean, the boat handled it, but it's just miserable. It ain't no fun. That's not the roughest stuff I've ever had it in, but it came close. We had some pretty good waves that day that you were out there, and then the pelting rain didn't help. I think we had what, one bite, and that was right after we first started fishing. Yeah, that's what I get for relying on the marine weather forecast of waves 2 feet or less. Yeah, them waves of 2 feet or less. I didn't see nothing that was as small as 2 feet that day. Everything was bigger than that. Yeah, Bill, when Pat went out with me, we were rocking and rolling. We had some good 10 footers there that day. Not constant. It was a very inconsistent waves, but it ended up being miserable. And I went by the marine forecast, and which I'll never do again. They said the rain was going to stop and the wind were going to shut down, and it was going to be 2 foot or less. Never seen it that calm the whole day. And I think it only stopped raining for once we got back to the dock. Yeah, that rain was crazy. No, so you'd have been puking over the side. Now Pat's group did real well with it. He had one inexperienced fisherman with him, and he got a little bit green, but he kept it together, and I could tell he was kind of miserable, and that's when I asked Pat if he just wanted to go in and reschedule it. But we had a lot of rough days last year. I think I had three like real calm days, and the rest was choppy, just or really rough. There was a lot of days I just couldn't go out by myself to fish. Well, Bill, we'd have been that way if we had been out farther, but the fish were in fairly close. We were only in 70, 80 feet of water, so we were real close to shore. In Ludington or in Frankfort here, you're real close to shore when you're in 80 feet of water. you can get to 100 feet of water and not be a mile out. And that's not even fishing in front of the bank where there's a hole or in the herring hole. The herring hole, you can be, I believe it's 3/4 of a mile and then close to 300 feet of water. And then there's a couple spots like that up in Flat Bay as well that I used to fish with my 14-foot boat all the time. Literally 100 yards from shore and in 80 feet of water. And the salmon, the coho and the kings gather up there, and right around August 13th is when I always started fishing it. But they start gathering up and make their run up the Platte River, which usually comes a little after Labor Day. I've had them in there years ago so thick that they like to porpoise a lot, and they jump right into the side of the boat. And when you're not expecting that, that 14-foot aluminum boat, when you're not expecting a fish like that to smash into it, it rattles your cage. It does rattle your cage if you're not expecting it. But yeah, unfortunately, I took Pat out, and it was not supposed to be that rough. I even showed him the marine weather report that comes from the Coast Guard, and he kind of laughed at that because it was so far from the truth. It wasn't funny. Maybe that's what it was over in Wisconsin, but that sure ain't what it was from Manistee to Betsy Point, which was the report I got. Now I get online and go right to the one buoy that's closest and see what it's tipping at. So far this year, they've been more accurate with their marine weather and more to the calm side than what they're predicting, but um, it's just the way it's been. Well, especially when they drove so far to come up there, and he called me to find out, and I'm like, "Hey, the marine weather report said it's good." I felt so bad when we got down to the lake and started setting lines, and it got that rough. I mean, we went out there, and it started to get rough just as we slowed down to set lines. I mean, there was some waves, but I was going out at half, 3/4 throttle. I couldn't have done that on the way in by no means. It got way too rough. So instead of calming down, it was actually building while we were out there. All right, Pat. Thanks for stopping by, and you have a good weekend. And wish your brothers well for me, would you please? And when you're ready to go fishing, you just let me know. So yeah, tomorrow I'm leaving here at noon and heading up to the UP and across and down into Wisconsin. And then I took Monday off. I'm coming home, leaving my son's place early in the morning when they leave for work, and I'll probably fart around in the UP for most of the day before I end up coming home. I got about an 8-pound lake trout. One of them real good eating ones. And I lost a couple salmon just out of net range near the boat, and then had a bunch of releases that were on for a few seconds and I'm gone. Kind of like what they did the night I took you out, Sue. Had a few bites and then they were gone. Yeah, thanks, Pat. Once I get enough viewers and I can go live from the boat, I'll do fishing reports right from the boat because tonight would have been a perfect night to be out fishing. Oh, it happens. I don't. If I'm getting bites and I know I'm doing something right, so I don't mind that at all. Now my coworker was out. And he was in a different boat, and they went 0 for 3. He only had 3 hits. So I had more than that. By the time he told me he was packing it up with only 3 hits. So you wouldn't have liked it out there last night, Sue. Yep, I know I'm doing something right. And I did post pictures on the Facebook page of the lure I was using. It's kind of a orange and gold one. That's been a hot lure for the last 2 weeks. I've caught a couple lake trout on it, a couple salmon, lost a few salmon on it. I had one rod last night. It had 3 bites in 10 minutes. As soon as I'd set it, I'd go back and sit down. I was trying to text my coworker to let him know to come in closer because he was out in 180 feet of water. And I'd look back and his rod would be pumping and peel and drag. I'd run back out there and it'd be gone. Reset it, come back down, hit the send button on the message, looked up and it's going off again. And it did that like 3 times. And that was on a Blue Dolphin spoon. All right, Bill. Well, I'll try to get the pictures up on my webpage too. That's takes me a little bit longer to do that, but I'll get them pictures up there. And I'm gonna start doing that. Any lures that I start catching fish on. I didn't get the picture of the blue dolphin one, but anything I'm catching fish or getting lots of bites on, I'll start posting them. Help people out because I don't know the names of them. These guys will tell you, oh, they're hitting on monkey puke. Or what the heck is a monkey puke? Or they're biting on a green goby. That don't tell me nothing. I got a box of spoons that don't have names on them. What colors is it? Well, it's green goby. No, what colors? Does it got green? Does it got blue? Does it got orange, red? What? So, and I don't have enough room in my boat to keep a chart of all the various manufacturers of the spoons with their current up to date names. Because a lot of times they just change the name and it's the same spoon that they had 5 years ago. And yes, it does make a difference. You can have 3 lures down there, all green. One will catch fish because it has a little bit of red on it, where the other 2 don't have red on it. Just like one of my best all-time lures is my Easter Egg Wonder Glow. I ran one last night that's similar to it. It's Easter Egg Wonder Glow, but the difference is it's got a silver hammered back instead of a glow hammered back. And I've never caught a fish on the one with the silver hammered back. But that one with the glow back has been my all time best overall lure. If I was dragging that last night, there is zero doubt in my mind I would have pulled a fish with it. It is that reliable. The problem is I need to find another one because I want to retire that lure. I've probably caught 3,000 salmon on that lure and countless lake trout. And that glow back makes all the difference in the world. Just like I had the one night, July 3rd, I had 10 on that I fought to the boat. And that orange lure was hot. Why didn't I have it out? I don't want to lose it. It was rough enough and getting late enough that I said, nope, I haven't even put it out yet this year. I want to retire it, put it in a little box, and just keep it. Because you caught a fish on it last year. My kids have all caught fish on it from the time they were little, younger. Um, my ex-wife caught a fish on it. Her daughter caught her first salmon on that lure. Um, it's caught a lot of fish for a lot of people, so it has sentimental value. Okay, Bill, I am going to have to get a hold of you because I got a couple of these green Easter eggs that don't have the glow backs. And if I can get somebody to professionally paint a glow on the back, I'll pay them. I mean, I could put glow paint on it, but it ain't going to stay. I need somebody who knows what they're doing. And if he custom paints baits, he knows what he's doing. I'm a boat mechanic by trade. My painting skills are crude. So I'll have to uh, get in touch with you via email and get something going. I did find one of them lures for sale in Wisconsin, but they wanted $17.99 for it, and I refuse to pay $17.99 for a lure that should be $7.99. So just because they got the last few, they think that they're gold. They're a great lure, but I'd rather send out my own, the one that I have, and pay somebody $20 to paint it. Even though I've got the $6.99 invested into the lure, I'd rather pay somebody $20 to paint it than to pay the farm and fleet store $17.99 for a lure that should be $6.99 or $7.99. I hate gouging. And my four newest reels came in the mail yesterday, and I got four more of those big trolling reels. They had another free shipping day at Wish, and I found the reels for $17.95, so I ordered four more of them. So now I'm up to a dozen of those things. But I just couldn't pass it up for that kind of money, especially when I'm getting ready to set up a bunch of lead core lines, and I'm working to try and get my charter captain license, and I'm hoping to have two complete charter boats to run next year. The Slickcraft, the 285, and then I'd like to run night moves too if they'll both pass inspection. No, I've ordered these reels. Yeah, they're with the free shipping day, but now they have a flat rate shipping too, and I'm dealing right with the manufacturer of these reels through Wish. And I ordered four last year in the fall, and I got them, and I liked them. And then I talked to a charter captain that actually uses them, and he's used them for 3 to 4 years, hassle free, no problems. And he says, his reels go through the ringer. So I ordered four more when they had another day that was free shipping. But they happened to have a discount on these reels at the time, a few dollars off, and then the free shipping. So I jumped on it. So, and four of them will be outfitted by Friday of next week with lead core, maybe more, but four for sure. I've ordered a lot from them. The only thing, sometimes it takes a while to get it shipped. I ordered a couple other things. One thing I'm still waiting on. The other thing I got like 5 days after I placed the order, I had it. And then these reels, I don't remember when I ordered them, but they were supposed to be here Friday, but the U.S. mail screwed up and sent them over to Fife Lake. Okay, you too, Bill, and thanks for stopping in and watching. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. But no, Sue, Wish is fine. I haven't been ripped off from them. And just like I watched a video this morning, somebody tried that Temu that's been blasted all over Facebook. and he actually got the stuff he got. He got one of these reels for $1.78. It's a smaller version, but he got it for $1.78. Yeah, United States Postal Service. How can you send something to Fife Lake that has to go to Thompsonville? Just boggles my mind. That's Traverse City people for you, because it goes through the Traverse City um, distribution center. That's not the first thing that I've tracked that they've sent elsewhere. One of the things last year they sent to Clarkston. Yeah, I'm hesitant in Timu, but the guy on the video, he was as well, but he got what he paid for. You know, he says he got the exact same thing. He figured it was going to be some kind of get up, and he knows somebody else. Now, he's not saying he guarantees that they're legit by any means, but what him and his friends have ordered, they've gotten. Yeah, but that wasn't the United States Postal Service doing that. Somebody just sent it to the wrong address. My right address was on the package, and they sent it to the wrong city. And then usually the other trouble that I have is with United Parcel Service. They're just a bunch of doofuses. I never know where my package is when I have something delivered from them. It could be at my garage, could be at my mailbox, could be at my front door, could be at the neighbor's a half mile down the road. It's like they just don't feel like stopping, so oh, we'll just drop it at the neighbor's. And, you know, they've been doing that for a year. Yeah, so somebody in shipping and receiving screwed that one up. I know next week I'm gonna bottom paint that boat that I'm gonna be selling and finish giving it a tune up. Somebody's got to get a nice fishing boat for just a little bit of money out of that one. Yeah, it's time for me as well, so I'm gonna call it a night as well because I gotta do some packing and we'll we'll see what's up. All right, thank you for watching, everybody, and have a good week. Have a good weekend. Tight lines to everybody, and thanks for watching Call the Wild Outdoors. Feel free to visit my website. Um, Address is written on the screen. And I also have a Facebook page, which is COTW Outdoors on Facebook. So, well, yeah, Sue, I'm going to make it worth my effort, but somebody's going to get a good boat for the money. I'm going to let it go for about half of what it's worth, maybe even more than half. But it's going to be completely set up, ready to fish. I mean, literally, all I got to do is have a fishing license, gas the boat up, and put it in the water, and they can. Well, they'll have to register it, of course, but they're going to have rods, reels, lures. It's going to be ready to go. So, all right, everybody, have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.